Sweet Mountain and Planet Wisp, Part 1. For a school teacher like Charlie, to say that her students were excitable is an understatement. Whenever something new was happening in Ponyville, her students were often the first ones to find out. Trixie's first visit, Apple's cutie marks, the Gabby Guns Golem and the full free press. On a normal day, Charlie would be happy to be caught up in the excitement with them. But this was certainly turning out to be anything but a normal day. If the white sky and odd look of Ponyville were anything to go by. And she was really being honest with herself. Despite the fact that Charlie, the Apple Bloom, Sleepbell, Scootaloo, their sisters, their friends were with them, she wasn't sure what to make of the new, animals. Her students clearly had their own thoughts, however, as they quickly followed after their group when factors suggested they show themselves out. Snips, Snails, Featherweight Twist, Shady Days, Truffle Shovel, Diamond Tiara, Silver Spoon all followed them, all interested in the group for their own reasons. Well, maybe Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon weren't actually interested in them, but whatever was driving them to follow the rest of their classmates was enough that they didn't listen to when Charlie tried to call them back. The rose-colored school teacher wasn't a pony to give up easily, however, and followed her students through Ponyville, right to the Throne Cute corner. As he turned the corner, Charlie saw Sonic and Twilight herding everyone to the bakery. Tails, Fetcher, Big, Macintosh, and Spike were already inside, and Shining Armor, Prentice, Skate, Sprayburn, Little Stronghart, and the rest of the main six were on their way in. Sonic was quick to notice that the foals were coming towards them, and after Rarity's tail slid inside, reached up and pulled the front door shut, leaving himself, Twilight, Trixie, and the Keymarker Crusader still outside. Twilight wasn't exactly pleased that Trixie had to be exposed to the ponies of Ponyville so soon after her harrowing experience, but she kept quiet after a moment's thought, as she realized that, even with Princess Celestia and Luna inside, the foals could still swarm Super Cute corner, leaving Trixie feeling even more vulnerable. Knowing Stiffs and Seals probably still had Trixie in high regard, despite everything that had happened between them, Twilight moved in front of her fellow unicorn guard her. Sonic quickly moving to her side to aid her, while the Keymarker Crusader stood behind Trixie on the stoop. As expected, Stiffs and Snails were at the front of the group, wanting to see the amazing feats for the great and powerful Trixie. All the foals behind him, save for Diamond Tiara and possibly Silver Spoon. Times like this, I am glad that Raindrops isn't more known, because I feel like Raindrops would be showing up along Carrot Top. Surprised not half of the entire fan cast. All the excitedly asking questions or wanting to touch them. The Blueheads are trying to keep them at bay, glad that they were still little, not full-grown ponies yet, while trying to keep Snips and Snails from getting to Trixie. Apple Blue, Sleepbell, Scootaloo eventually moving to help them, while Charlie tried to get her students back under control. After about a minute of this, Super Cute Corner's front door opened slightly, and Blaze sat down to the stoop. And he heard Sonic and Twilight's voice amongst the noise outside. The foals all gasped and backed away when she stepped out, save for Diamond Tiara, who didn't look impressed with the newcomer at all, unlike Silver Spoon. Blaze surveyed the scene for a moment before looking at Sonic and Twilight and asking, "Sonic, Twilight, what is going on out here?" Sonic looked back at her and shrugged, "Kids, Blaze." Blaze looked at Trixie and asked, "Who are you?" Before the answer can answer, Sniffs piped up, "She's the great battle with Trixie!" Snail laughed slowly, "Yeah." "What's wrong, Snails?" "I miss my characterization in the Luniverse." We all do, Snails. Twilight turned to look at Blaze and ask, "Blaze, could you come here for a second, please?" Blaze looked confused, but did as he was asked, pulled the front door closed behind her as he stepped down. Once Blaze was standing in front of her, Twilight leaned over and started whispering something in the cat's ear, mostly so the Charlie students wouldn't hear. When Twilight was done, Blaze leaned back and asked, "Are you certain?" Twilight nodded in response. Blaze nodded back and looked back at Trixie, walking over to her. The Astro Mare began to feel nervous at even look at the cat was giving her, but Blaze spoke before she could panic. "Miss Trixie, may I see your foreleg, please?" Trixie asked, "Why? What are you going to do?" Blaze held out her right hand. "Just let me see your foreleg. I promise I won't harm you." Still a little bit nervous, Trixie held up her right foreleg and placed her hoof in Blaze's hand. The princess looked at it for a moment before saying, "It appears that Twilight is correct. You've been forced to endure blood trauma and mental scarring. Well, I could certainly do something for one of the two. She raised her left hand and placed it above Trixie's knee. The showman began to sweat as he saw what happened to be fire creeping around the hand, but Blaze gave her a stern look. Don't panic, and don't close your eyes. Trixie nodded shakily. Okay. Blaze lowered her hand onto Trixie's knee as the door to Chicky Corona and Applejack, Rarity, and Rainbow Dash looked outside, wondering what was going on. Blaze began to focus her flames onto her hand, was beginning to glow red as he placed it on top of Trixie's knee. Sorry, Twilight, Apple Blue, Sleep Bell, Scootaloo watched intently. Their mouths slightly gave out cheerily. Your class, Rarity, Rainbow, and Applejack get constantly more shocked as the flames began to spread out from the palm of Blaze's hand. Trixie was about to panic, but then realized there was a difference between these flames and the feeling a pony gets when he accidentally touches a pot on the stove. That feels warm. Soothing, even, she murmured. Blaze nodded as the flames spread across Trixie's body. My flames are not dangerous, except when I want them to be. Right now, I'm willing on the way to burn away this physical trauma you have endured. Trixie gave her a grateful look as she was now completely engulfed in flames. Shady D's getting out of his shock long enough to get a picture or two from the school newspaper. After a minute, the flames quickly receded back into Blaze's hand and removed it, allowing Trixie to take a foreleg back. Do you feel better now? Wait, Shady D's? Let's see. Oh, he's that random-ass Earth Pony cult from one of the King Marker Sayer episodes. Oh, God! You know, you can use Featherweight if you want. He's more and more known as a name. Trixie glanced down at herself for thinking, saying, Thank you. I cannot find the proper words to express how grateful I am to you. Blaze placed a hand on her shoulder, saying, That's quite alright. You have been quite through the ordeal from what I've been told. Someone like you needs the love and kindness of others, not the admonition. Tears threatened to spew from Trixie's eyes as she put her hat back on, and Rainbow, Rarity, and Applejack looked surprised at her words. Shirley turned her attention to her students after a moment of silence, saying, Alright, my little ponies. I understand many of you are interested in Plainfield's new arrivals, but I believe this is a delicate situation, one we should not intrude on any further. So if you all please hold back your curiosity for the time being. We should all probably get back to the schoolhouse for the time being. Her students were disappointed, but they all knew Shirley would never lie to them, and they did think that display by Blaze was cool. So they all agreed to go back, save for Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon, so the latter looked like she wanted to go back. Applejack spoke up. Excuse me, Miss Shirley, is it alright if Apple Blue, Sleep Bell, Scootaloo stay here? I kinda like my sister nearby right now, and I think Rarity and Rainbow Dash would like Sleep Bell, Scootaloo around too. The two mayors requested nodded in agreement with Applejack's thoughts. Shirley replied, Yes, of course, Applejack. I'm not exactly sure what's going on right now, but I can't say it looks like anything's safe, since I want my students to be safe until they have some point you can take care of them home. But as long as you three are here, I see no reason to keep them. That and their sisters and their family, so the three fillies all looked happy at that. Not only because they would get to stay out, because it also meant there was a lot. Arrgh! Of course, nothing can be that simple. Diamond Tiara suddenly spoke her silence. Oh God, we're really doing this. Are we? No. Vic, you can't be doing this. I looked ahead, and yes, Vic wanted to do it. However, I'm tired of doing any Diamond Tiara bashing, especially after the previous fic with Snails last year. So, you know what? No, I'm not doing this. No. I'm putting a stop to this right now. Long story short, we meet up with Filthy Ritz. Hi. Diamond Tiara gets to be a bitch for a while. Of course, because I only have that one personality. Is upset for some odd reason that Blaze's light show, doesn't believe the whole thing about the princesses, whines and nags and gets found out that she's a liar, and Filthy Ritz takes her home because we gotta have Diamond Tiara in here for some odd reason. And no. If you can't find anything to do with her other than to do the old, let's get revenge on the bully trope, no. We ain't doing it. We're done. Oh, and Sonic had a cell phone. There. Done. Can we move on? And Sonic is the one who helped out because it's Sonic. He's also like that. Oh, and by the way, apparently Celestia is within Secret Cube Corner, so all Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon-headed Lou was looking in the mirror window and see Princess Celestia and Luna, so... No! Bad fic! We're not installing your little bully fantasies for whatever you're trying to get revenge on. No! As he stepped inside, he all heard the sound of crying coming over the stairs. So I pulled the door closed behind him. Twilight spotted the cake standing next to the counter near the stairs, looking upstairs anxiously. Twilight walked over to them, coming to a stop in front of Chrissy's usual table. When Tails was working at and asked, "What's wrong, Mr. and Mrs. Cake?" Cupcake turned to her and said, "Oh, I don't think it's anything too serious, but the twins were woken up by all the noise making outside. Pinkie Pie went upstairs a minute ago, saying she calmed them down for us." So I came over and asked, "Where's Silver? Did he come in here?" Carrot Cake looked down and replied, "You mean that white hedgehog?" White? Carrot, you need your eyes checked. Silver's gray. When he got upstairs with Pinkie, saying that he wanted to help. Not sure how I can help, though, seeing as he never trailed off as the sound of twins crying was suddenly quieted. The case looked back up towards the top of the stairs, Cupcake calling, "Pinkie, is everything all right up there?" The Pink Pony called back, "Everything's okay, Mrs. Cake. Pancake and Pumpkin Cake are in really high spirits now." So he appeared in the doorway a moment later, into the cake's shot, so he was wrapped in a green aura and floating. "And so am I," she said before as she started rolling down the stairs. Cupcake exclaimed, "Pinkie, how did I clutch you?" She trailed off as Pound Cake and Pumpkin Cake, and several stuffed toys floated down behind her, all wrapped in the same green aura. Silver came hovering down after them a second later. Blaze walked over and smiled. "Ah, it's just Silver doing all that. There's nothing to worry about." Blaze is probably looking at Silver and just being heartwarmed at the idea of her future boyfriend just working so hard. Carrot Cake looked at her as Silver lowered himself on the ground near the stairs and started moving his hands to move Pinkie, Pumpkin Cake, Pound Cake, and the toys near the ceiling. Said, Nothing to worry about. It's carrying our babies around with its magic. That's plenty to worry about." Carrot. Pumpkin can do worse. Blaze raised an eyebrow now. Silver made the cake twins and the toys move around the ceiling various ways, while Pinkie swam after them, the silver hedgehog watching them as moving his hands all the while. Trixie was reminded of the show Twilight put on for the ambassadors for Saudi Arabia as she and the others watched. Trixie walked over to the Liberty Unicorn, still watching, and whispered to her, "Does he really know how to use magic?" Twilight whispered back, "No, he's just psychokinetic, Trixie." Actually, Unicorn looked confused. "What's the difference?" Twilight just shrugged lightly to her, not sure how to give her a short explanation. Before they both turned back to look, behind him, Shining Armor, who was standing in the back with the princesses, looked away from the display at his sister for a moment. Princess Celestia and Luna had filled him and Cadence in, but he was still having his difficulty wrapping his head around everything. After a minute, Silver placed his hands together in front of him and lowered his head. As he held that pose, Pinkie floated down to a flip before she dropped on her hooves, while Pumpkin and Pound Cake, both of them giggling excitedly while holding on to stuffed toys, were levitating over to their parents. Mr. Cake counting Pumpkin Cake, while Mrs. Cake counted Pound Cake. Silver raised his hand and lowered his hands to his side, looking over at the Cake twins and smiling. "Did you have fun?" Pound Cake and Pumpkin Cake made exciting noises before they both yawned loudly. Cupcake looked over at Silver and said, "Thank you for helping Pinkie Pie calm down Pumpkin Cake and Pound Cake, Silver dearie. Next time, could you please stick with us before you lift our babies and carry them around like that?" Silver rubbed the back of his head as he replied, "Sure, Mrs. Cake. I guess I should have thought of that beforehand." Satisfied with their response, the Cakes took their babies upstairs and put them back in their cribs. After they left, the director spoke up. "Alright, you can quit now, or are you planning on hiding yourself for view all day?" Little Strongheart, Spike, and the ponies looked down oddly until a familiar voice spoke up.
Looks like your detective skills are still quite sharp, even after being temporarily frozen, Victor.
Those words, a familiar chameleon appeared just above the frozen door, his hands and feet holding him against the wall. Victor smiled out loud.
Well, of course, SBO! I'm not about to lose my touch. Besides, after all the times we worked together, you think I wouldn't be able to notice the signs you're camouflaging yourself?
SBO let go of the wall and dropped down, crouching down when he led and standing up straight. Whoa, dude, that's creepy, but awesome, Spike commanded. Sakura, her saddlebags on her back, smiled. A chameleon, one whose color can turn many hues, a skill that could be useful when searching for clues. Silver grinned. SPL! The chameleon walked over and shook Silver's hand, saying,
Good to see you again, Silver. I trust everything has been well.
The Silver Hedgehog nodded in response. Sonic looked at Blaze and said, Speaking of seeing others again, what happened to Cream and Cheese Place? The cat looked back at her and replied,
They went, you know.
Right. I know. Tails spoke up a moment later. Guys? Everyone looked down, now noticing he was wearing a Sherlock Holmes hat and holding a magnifying glass in his right hand. He looks adorable! Sonic pointed, What's with the hat, Tails? The fox shrugged as he moved around to the side of the table. Pinky said I couldn't use her magnifying glass unless I wore it, so he was very insistent about it. Pinky piped up, Well, of course! You need the detective work with that one.
SBO said, We do.
Fetcher nodded.
Yep! No fancy hats for the chaos detective agency! Although part of the reason for that is to keep Charmy from getting any ideas.
Pinky got him on his neck, looking right in his eyes, and said, Maybe you consider that. You must never doubt the power of a good hat. Sonic looked back at Tails and shrugged. Sorry, anyway, what's up? Tails replied, Well, this was going over the device that was controlling Trixie. Spike and the other members of the main six raised their eyebrows at Trixie, the Azure unicorn feeling her stares on the back of her head. From the back, Luna asked, Did you find anything, Tails? Tails answered, Not much that I didn't expect to find, but this particular caught my interest. He held the magnifying glass in front of the table, and everyone, save for his shining armor and the princesses, who are now feeling even more like hangers-on, looked in for a closer look. Through the magnifying glass, you could see a green, rectangular-shaped microchip sitting on the table. What is it? Twilight asked. Tails explained, Technically, you could call it the brain of the device. I see it in a lot of Eggman's robots. It emits signals that makes his robots do what he commands them to. Without it, you could probably do whatever they want, whether Eggman likes it or not. Rainbow asked, So what's that got to do with? Tails lowered the magnifying glass and said, I did a safe test on it before, and I found that certain signals can be detected by the brain, depending on how sensitive someone's hearing is, and when the brain receives the signal, it'll automatically carry it out. It tested Sonic as he went on, like say Sonic received a signal telling him to run. He'd start running and be unable to stop his feet for any reason until the signal itself stopped, not even to sleep. Sonic went, I sure do get drowsy if I don't get my 8 hours of sleep. Elzak asked, So, this is all that Eggman's doing, is that what you're saying, Tails? The fox rubbed the back of his head as he said, Not entirely sure yet. He looked at Trixie and asked, Trixie, did you have any control over any part of your body while the device is active? The Azure Mare looked down. No, I had no control over myself at will. I was saying things I shouldn't have been saying, and being told to do things I didn't want to do. But my body wouldn't listen to me. It was doing what it was told, and I was struggling to regain control over myself. Twilight gave her a soft nuzzle, Trixie appreciating its warmth. Trixie for the win, baby. Tails shook his head and sighed, feeling bad for bringing it up, though it was necessary.
Victor asked, So what's confusing you, Tails?
Tails looked back at the device and said, Well, from what I've seen, it looks like a neurocontroller. Something I'm sure Eggman could build, but from what Trixie says, it sounds like she was under the influence of a mind control device. School shrugged. What's the difference between them? Tails asked, Are you all familiar with mind control? Twilight glanced at Shining Armor's direction and said, We kind of are. Sonic added, And we've had some experience with it recently, right, Tails? The fox nodded while scratching his head. Yeah. He then said, Well, a neurocontroller kind of acts similar to mind control, but
there is a difference. When the body's receiving a signal, it acts on it, even if the person being controlled is sleeping. But usually you can control everything else, which is huge compared to mind control. It was just a neurocontroller. Trixie should have been able to tell Twilight what's going on and remember who did it to her.
Silver asked, "So is it a mind control device or a neurocontroller?"
Tails replied, "That's the confusing part." He looked back at the table and said, "I looked this thing over several times, but I found nothing. Nothing suggests it was a mind control device. Ideally, a mind control device should have something extra in order to take control of someone's mind. Sure, maybe something got smashed, fell out, or whatever it was broken, but there should be evidence that something was there, and there's not."
Big Macintosh spoke up.
So in other words, it can't be a mind controller.
Tails nodded. "Yes, that's correct, Big Mac. This is definitely a neurocontroller. Yet, it's somehow able to act like a mind control device." He shook his head. "Doesn't make sense."
First, I spoke up.
Sonic, you said you had some experience with mind control, recently. Was that with Dr. Eggman or...
Sonic looked back at her and said, "It was with Eggman, Fluttershy. But I doubt he could shrink a mind control device down to anything this small, especially considering his prototype ran on alien energy, and he drained 2 full canisters of the stuff in under a minute. Sure, there was a big one too that might have been more efficient, but I don't see how he could have shrunk it down to something tiny that works for more than a minute between then and now."
SBO crossed his arms. "This is curious. Tails can usually figure out Eggman's machines, but this time even he's confused. That doesn't rule out Eggman as the likely culprit, but we have no evidence to explain how or why he did it."
Sakura looked down. "That is true, but whatever the reason, no good can come from that kind of treason." Sonic said, "Sakura's right. Eggman's gotta be around here, cooking up some new plan. We should just ask him when we find him. He likes to go on and on about his plans after all."
Tails shrugged. "That's true."
Twilight looked at Trixie as he groaned and held a hoof to her forehead.
"Are you okay, Trixie?"
she asked. The unicorn replied,
"I think so. But with all that's happened, I feel very exhausted, especially after..."
Twilight nodded. "All right." She looked at Tails and asked,
"Tails, do you think you could take Trixie to the library and help her up on my bed?"
Oh my.
Matt might do her some good.
As well as a giant makeout section. The reason why I'm whispering is that since the last chapter, Trixie's keeping an eye on me and my Twixie jokes. So I gotta be careful. So I hope you don't mind. But I bet Twilight wants to take Trixie to bed just as much as Trixie wants to take Twilight to bed. Holy Hannah. Wow.
Tails smiled. "Sure!" He took Pinky's hat off and placed it on the table with a magnifying glass. He then turned to Sonic Brian's radar, handing it to him as he said,
"The radar went out before you guys came in, but I silenced it so I could keep working. Can you check it while I'm gone, Sonic?"
Sonic took the radar in his left hand and held something out. "You got it, bud." Tails nodded and brought the warp ring out. He looked at Trixie starting for the door, the Azure Unicorn following him a moment later. Standing up for Trixie. As the two of them walked towards the door, Spike and the Ponyville ponies looked at Trixie. I suppose the some of them wanted to call her out for the last time she showed her face in town. Between having to get away from Cheerilee's inquisitive class, and finding out she had been fully controlled by someone or something, well, they'd been distracted to say the least. But what they were seeing now made even Spike and Rainbow Dash think twice about saying anything. First time she left, Trixie refused to admit she'd been outdone, and outran with the aid of a smokescreen. And yet, on her second visit, she seemed meek after the Alicorn amulet was removed. And before some of them had seen her talking to Twilight at the end of her show for the Cello Arabians. But then she seemingly regained some of her old self and took off again. Now she was walking with heavy steps and her gaze tilted toward the ground. Nothing like the Trixie they knew. It was unsettling enough that no point could find it in them to say anything. Celestia, Luna, and Cadence all watched the events unfold in front of them. Despite some of them being confused, decided to remain quiet with the rest of them. Shining Armor, however, wasn't content with his confusion, especially now he ever began to run the idea what he missed thus far. And he rose up and walked down back, going over to his sister. As Tails and Trixie stepped outside, he asked, "Twilight, what exactly did she do to you?"
Bound replied, "Shining, it's not really a big deal. We talked it over afterwards and made up. There's nothing you need to worry about."
Sunny said, "That doesn't really answer my question. This is something I kind of like to know about." Sonic could see that Twilight really didn't want to bring up what happened with Trixie so soon after it happened and offered, "Dude, I think she did answer your question. Especially if you're asking for the reason I think you are." Shine looked down and said, "Twilight can speak for herself, Sonic. You don't need to put words in her mouth." His voice had a slight edge to it as he spoke. "Yeah, but can anyone who can understand what she's going through can speak to Trixie?" Sonic retorted. Sonic raised an eyebrow. "And you do?" Sonic answered, "I've seen things, and I've helped out folks who have gone through the same thing she did. You're asking a question that really doesn't need to be asked, especially not when Trixie can hear it." He gestured to the front door, where Trixie and Tails were standing in front of the warp ring, Trixie having to stop to listen in. Sonic looked back at Sonic and said, "I'm looking out for my sister, okay? If Trixie did something to her, I want to know about it, and she'll answer for it if need be." Twilight spoke, "Shining! She was under mind control. Everything she did wasn't consciously. You can't blame her for that." Sonic asked, "Well, what if she hadn't been stopped, Twilight? What if she got away with whatever she was being told to do?" Twilight looked like she had something to say, but she pushed it aside and said, "Then it would have been my fault for not being prepared. She knows what could have happened if the mind control on her hadn't been broken. You should have seen her afterwards, and she was just about to fall apart in front of me." Sonic spoke, "And what you're doing is pulling up memories both old and new. Whatever she used to be, she's trying to get over it. Your interrogating her isn't going to help her one bit. So if you have any sympathy at all for what she's going through, you'll drop it, dude." Sonic looked a bit miffed at being told off by a hedgehog, but took a few steps. Kane's coming down to stand by him. Sonic looked out the front door and saw Trixie smile as he held his right thumb up. So he returned to gesture with a grateful smile, and before returning to Tails and following him through the warp ring. Twilight looked at Sonic and said, "Thank you, Sonic." He smiled and nodded at her. Blaze spoke, "Now that that's a matter that's settled, we should take Tails' radar and determine where we must go next." Sleepbell asked,
Miss Blaze, can we come with you?"
Everyone said, "Oh yeah, we ain't got to see any part of Sonic's world yet." School asked, "So, Kelly?" "No, you three are too young and you're a bunch of hangers-on." "Not according to the writer!" "Oh, poopy." Blaze replied, "Well, I have no quarrels with you three coming with, but you shouldn't be asking me for permission." The three fillies looked at Sonic, shining armored princesses, the main six, expectantly at that. Rainbow said, "I'm fine with them coming with. You girls are too, right?" Rarity shook her head. "Oh, heavens, no. I'll see Rainbow Dash. Don't you remember that out-of-control volcano we went to and being attacked by Doc Gaia's minions? I'm not going to put Street Man in such danger." Applejack said, "Normally I'd be agreeing with you, Rainbow, but Rarity's got a point. Lately our adventures have been, well, excitingly safe from the get-go, but it's been particularly dangerous lately. I'm not about to risk it at the same time." Blaze turned back to the fillies, not sure what to say. As she and Luna walked out to the back, Celestia spoke, "Rarity and Applejack are only concerned for your safety, girls. Perhaps you should listen to them." The Q Crusaders all slept at the ground. "Aww!" Applejack said, "Now don't start with that, y'all. Since we can't be sure there's something out there, Big Mac can walk y'all to either your homes or your clubhouse." She then had a thought, turned to the Red Stallion, saying, "Speaking of which, we managed to find Granny Smith earlier, Big Mac. But since Apple Boy and her friends are here, she's all alone at Apple Acres. Not sure she's taking a nap or something, but I don't like the idea of leaving her alone for very long, do you?" Big Macintosh shook his head. "Nope." Brayburn asked, "Is that so?" He tried over to Big Macintosh and does decide. "In that case, I'll go with you, Big Mac. It ain't been that long since our last reunion, but it'd be nice to see Sweet Apple Acres again." Little Strongheart walked up to him and said, "Brayburn has said good things about Sweet Apple Acres. Do you suppose I could come and see your apple orchards, Big Macintosh?" The Red Stallion nodded, "Yup." Twilight looked at Sonic and asked, "Where do you think we'll be going this time, Sonic?" Sonic shrugged. "Well, releasing Dark Gaia was Eggman's most recent plan. No, wait, it was the third most recent. So I guess this time we'll be going somewhere in Eggman's Interstellar Amusement Park." The Keymarker Crusader's ears perked up at that, and a second later, as Sonic was raising the radar to open up, he heard a scratching noise below him, looked down to see the three fillies on their backs, looking up out between his shoes. "Eggman, did you say?" Skulu asked.
"Did you say Interstellar?"
Sleepbell said.
"Amusement park?"
Applebloom finished. Yes, and why?" Sonic asked, raising an eyebrow. The three fillies glanced at each other before they looked back at him, smiling instantly as Sleepbell said,
"Just asking."
You girls realize that if you actually show up at any point in the next chapter, Lesson Bringer will not be voicing you, it will be skipping your scenes.
I wanna do that, won't you?
Tails and Trixie's talk. Tails led Trixie to the library, the unicorn looking over the bookshelves adequately decorated interior. Tails walked over to the stairs and called,
Trixie!
The unicorn turned her attention toward him, and he pointed up the stairs, saying,
How do you spell it? It's up here. Come on, I'll show you.
He started up towards Twilight and Spike's bedroom, Trixie quickly trotting over to the stairs and going after him. She walked through the doorway at the top of the stairs and found herself in the duo's personal area of the library. She walked to the middle of the room and noticed Tails' tail sticking out of the top of a nearby edge that had a winding staircase leading up to it. She waited patiently until Tails disappeared, and the fox took its head over the ledge and said,
I'm here, Trixie. I was just making sure Twilight's bed was made.
Trixie looked away, causing Tails to raise an eyebrow.
Trixie, are you okay?
The unicorn asked in a voice that was so quiet, Tails' sensitive ears barely heard her.
Why are you doing this?
It confused Tails further. He spun his namesakes around and flew down to Trixie's side. He placed his hand on her back, leaning forward and asking,
What do you mean?
Trixie looked at him out of the corner of her eye and said,
You may not know this, but when I first came to Ponyville, my boasting nearly put in danger when those two colts, Snips and Snails, wanted to see me think was real Ursa Major. Thankfully, they only found an Ursa Minor. It's why Sparkle is about to suit it. But I was left hoping someday to prove I was better than her. I eventually learned about the unicorn element, which made me stronger than ever, but also made me crueler than I used to. When I came back to Ponyville, Twilight Sparkle and her friends were eventually able to get me to take it off, and I later left, trying to do things differently. And look what's come of it. I was brainwashed and attempted to kill Twilight Sparkle! Tails right in.
Trixie looked down and said,
I can't say I've been a good filly lately. It was one thing when I was corrupted by the unicorn amulet, but if she stopped me this time, I would be responsible for killing her. I guess you forgive me after that. And now you know, how can you show me kindness?
For a long moment, Tails just stared at her. Then he spoke.
Trixie, I think the problem is you're speaking with this.
Raised his right hand and pointed above his head, just above her horn.
Not with this.
He pulled his hand back and pointed down at her chest. Trixie looked down at her finger in confusion.
With my udder?
Tails nodded.
You always want to take that with you. Sometimes you can say more than your brain could ever hope to. That's something science taught me.
He brought his finger back and let his left arm dangle at his side. Trixie looked down and said,
I don't understand.
Tails replied,
I know it's not always easy. It's not always easy to block out that voice in your head in favor of another. We've all been there before. But there's one thing I can tell, Trixie, is that right now, you're sincere. You're not scared to ask me, to someone you just met, an important question. That says a lot. I'm sure Twilight knows that too.
Trixie asked,
You really think so? Tails nodded, Sure! She's letting you stay here in her home, in her bed, trying to recuperate after a terrible experience. You just can never express that much care in words.
He didn't lead her out to the staircase to continue.
She said you two will talk when this is all over. She's going to do her best to help you get over this. I'm sure it'll take time, but you can break those walls down. Learn to speak with your heart, Trixie. You just won't have a way to communicate with Twilight. When your voice becomes clear, any of the ponies in Ponyville that don't like you, learn to get over those bad early impressions. Just take your time.
I wish the author kept it Speak With Your Heart. It's my favorite track for Solid Colors. By now they reached the top of the staircase. Tails took his hand off of Trixie's back and they walked over to Twilight's bed. Tails came over to her as she turned around and looked down at the floor. She looked down about a second later, using her magic to take off her hat and cape and said,
I think I could do that.
Tails nodded, Good! He held out his hand and took Trixie's hat and cape, setting the hat on top of one of the bedposts, folding up the cape and placing it on a nearby dresser as he said,
Don't fall apart, Trixie. Give it a chance, okay?
Looking back at Trixie, he saw her nod while smiling a little before climbing onto Twilight's bed, pulling the covers over her. Tails sighed quietly to himself as he closed her eyes. His words seemed to have an effect. But would he have an effect on her dreams? He quietly walked down the stairs and threw the warp ring in the middle of the floor. In particular, thought still in his head as he stepped through it. A second later, he stepped through the other side of the ring, was struck down and landed in his right hand. When he held it up, he then walked over to the circuit core and saw Sonic flipping the radar closed. Everybody, minus Pink, Macintosh, Brayburn, Little Strongheart, and the Q-Mark Crusaders, plus the cakes, looked up at him as he walked in. Sonic waved, "Hey, Tails." The Fox waved back as he came over.
Hey guys, where did Brayburn, Big Macintosh, Little Strongheart, and the Q-Man Crusaders go?
Alzak replied, "Sweet Apple Lakers. Big Mac and Brayburn go keep it. Granny Smith. Little Strongheart wants to see our apple trays. And the clubhouse my sister and friends use isn't far from the farm, so they took it with them."
Twilight asked, "How's Trixie doing?" Tails rubbed the back of his head as he said, "Well, I talked to her a bit and she settled down to take a nap, but, well, who knows how she'd be when she wakes up. There's no telling what kind of dreams she'll have."
Sakura shook her head. "It's true. She acted as though she deserved all the blame. For all she's done, what's happened to her is truly the same." Celestia walked over to Tails to drape a wing over his back, saying, "I'm sure you did all you could to help her feel better, Tails. Don't be mad at yourself."
Tails sighed, "Yeah, I know."
Sakura started for the door. When she reached it, she looked back over her shoulder and said, "I must take my belongings back to Eversley. Then perhaps I can provide Miss Trixie with some company." Blaze asked, "Are you sure, Miss Sakura?" Sakura replied, "Really not. I do not do anything if she should mind. But it sounds as though she would appreciate seeing a little kind." She then turned around and left her cute corner. Sonic handed Tails his radar to him a moment later. As he took it, the Fox asked,
"Where are we going?"
Sonic replied, "The new signal's coming from across town, from the hospital. Shouldn't take too long to get there."
Tails looked at the other and asked, "So, is everybody else besides Mr. and Mrs. Cake coming along?"
Silver nodded, "You bet. Blaze and I aren't saying this one out."
Fender added, "Jarvis the only one still missing. I'm sure you guys will be able to find him, but he's still a chaotic, so we should look out for each other, no matter what."
Celestia nodded. "Then I suppose we're ready to go." She looked at the cakes and said, "Thank you for your gracious hospitality, Mr. and Mrs. Cake."
"Oh, are you sure you're not going to have Mr. and Mrs. Cake coming? Why not all of Ponyville? Why not Terrily while you're at it? Why not freaking Trixie while we're still doing this? It seems like you have almost the entire freaking cast going into the rest of the fic." "Seriously, just stick with the main six, come on!"
The two Earth ponies not bowed. Cupcake saying,
Of course, Princess Celestia."
Carrot Cake nodded, "It's our pleasure." And with that, the group left to the cute corner. Meanwhile, at the club... Oh, God, no. Excuse me 1 second. The Q-Mark Crusaders need to change their names officially to the Suicidal Mark Crusaders.
"We don't need the Q-Mark Crusaders in this chapter, guys! Come on!"
Nope. Not gonna read the scene. Long and short of it, Sleepbell gets this crazy idea that she wants to test the rides. Skillo tries to remind them that, Eggman could possibly roboticize them. Applebloom agrees with her. Sleepbell says, "No, we need to test the rides to make sure it's up to Eggman standards." And they all agreed. Like idiots. So, unfortunately, folks, you're not going to get the interesting, fun Cutie Mark Crusaders in the story. No, you're getting the Kennys. I hope you three get captured, and I hope you three get grounded for this. As she was walking through Plainville with the others, Rarity suddenly let out a murmur as her body shook, something that caught Tails' attention.
"What did you say just now, Rarity?"
He asked while looking at her.
"I don't know,"
Rarity answered slowly, confusion evident in her voice. They looked at each other for a second longer before deciding that the white unicorn didn't have a pinky sense of her own, and turning back to the road. Soon the group could see the fountain up ahead. As they approached it, Silver asked Twilight,
"So, did you master it? Did you master the psychic knife?"
Twilight replied,
"Master's kind of a strong word, but I did successfully use it twice."
Spike grinned. "All right, way to go, Twilight."
Blaze nodded.
"It did. A successful performance says something, don't you think?"
Twilight smiled at her.
Then she looked up and said, "So I'm wondering if it's still really important to call my version a psychic knife. I know it's your move and all, Silver, but still.
Silver replied, I see what you mean. What with the whole magic thing and all?
He placed a hand on his chin. What would be a familiar name?
Dark Reunions. As they passed in front of the fountain, Espiel came to a stop and said, Wait, stop. Everyone quickly stopped walking at his words.
What's up, Esfio?
Vector asked. The purple chameleon replied, I feel as though we're not alone, like there's an eagle or a lion nearby. A familiar spoke up.
Well, I see you're half right, Ninja Boy.
Espiel looked up to the nearby rooftop to see a familiar griffin standing on top of it.
Gilda!
Rainbow breathed as the griffin leapt off the roof and opened her wings to slow her descent, landing in front of the group. Sonic spoke. Haven't seen you since we drove the Chainsleys out of town. What's up, Gilda? Shining Armor and Canes exchanged uneasy looks as they heard this. Princess Celestia mentioned that Queen Chrysalis and the Chainsleys showed up here and tried to invade. Do it make this the first time they tried to invade Ponyville? Or is it a second time? Shining wondered. Gilda grunted.
Yeah, not much. I was loitering around with Shadow and his team for a while, but that robot guy sure got annoying as Hay was constant shoot, crush, destroy thing, so I didn't stay long. I managed to find a nice cloud, so I tried to catch a quick nap. Didn't work though, since those screaming fillies woke me up.
Rarity asked,
You heard my sister on the fence screaming. Why didn't you help them?
Gilda shrugged. Didn't cross my mind. Especially not after I saw that, oh, you know.
Tails asked, So does that mean you're not doing anything right now, Gilda?
The griffin looked at him and replied,
Yeah, it does. Why?
Before Tails could ask, Rainbow said,
Forget it, Tails. I guess he's gonna want to come with us. Gilda smirked. You'd be right, Dash. I'm not overly interested in this dimension hopping or whatever kind of events you're having. Not my thing.
Tails said, Oh.
Suddenly they heard a voice from behind the griffin.
Gilda?
Gilda turned around. The others looked to see Team Darks coming towards them. When they were standing across from the griffin, Shell asked, What's going on here?
Gilda shrugged. I was just following these guys. Gotta do something to pass the time, don't I?
Shell didn't shrug or nod, but his look indicated that he was okay with that explanation. Then he looked at Sonic and asked,
Does he have something he should be doing right now, Sonic?
The blue-eyed Sonic replied, Hey, we're gonna be busy, Shao. We're just on our way to our next destination when Gilda show up. Twilight got the fifth element of harmony back earlier, and Silver gave us the fifth Chaos Emerald. Don't worry, we're not laying down a job. Shao gave a curt nod before looking over his shoulder. The two headsocks looking ready to say something to each other before Omega droned,
I am bored.
Rose sighed, Yes, Omega. You've made that very clear for a way now. So you know Shining Armor smiled. Well, who's this handsome hunk of a stallion? Kane's got a slightly dangerous look in her eyes when she heard this.
Excuse me?
She asked. Shell looked back at Sonic and asked,
Who are they?
Sonic pointed his thumb back at the couple and said, Shining Armor and Princess Cadence, a.k.a. Twilight's older brother and sister-in-law.
Kane smirked at Roots. That's right. So just stay away from him. He's mine.
She nuzzled Shining under his chin and he smiled back at her.
Roots simply smirked back. Oh, that's so cute. You should know, Princess, that when I really set my mind on something, I usually end up getting it.
Cadence responded by turning Shiny's head so they were looking at her. They then locked lips, sharing a kiss as the others looked away from Rouge and smiled at him. Well, most of them. Gilda stuck a claw in her beak. Rouge just watched her roll her eyes. Sonic, SPL, Blaze, and Shadow and Mika simply looked on. When the kiss ended, Shining and Cadence rested against each other, looking at each other lovingly. Shadow broke the moment when he turned to face his teammates and said,
Break time's over. Move out, Team Dark.
Cadence looked up to see Rouge and Omega nod, both of them turning and starting to walk away. Shadow following behind him. After a few seconds, he saw that they were leaving and called,
Wait, Shadow?
The black hedgehog came to a stop, but he didn't turn around. Though Rouge and Omega turned to look back at him.
Cadence asked, Why don't you and your team come with us? I'm sure he'll be nice.
Honey, look at Shadow. Look at his design. Does he look like he does nice? Second of all, if Shadow comes with you, this chapter's gonna be over in 5 seconds. Shadow was silent for a moment, but he said,
No, thank you. I do not believe we will enjoy each other's company.
Cadence protested, Oh, but I'm sure we'll get along well. We've already gotten acquainted with some of your friends.
Xiao remained quiet at that. Shiny joked, "What? Are you afraid your bad friend will actually try to take me away or something? Or maybe you really like Cadence a lot." Shiny? You're not usually this dumb. Xiao curtly replied, "Your wife is the one I'm thinking about. You're the one I have a problem with." Shiny's eyes widened a bit at that, but then they narrowed slightly as he asked, "Really? Why is that?" When Xiao could respond, Sonic stood in front of Xiao and held up his hand, saying, "Well, dude, just take it easy. You love your wife, you love your sister. You have your pride and all that, and that's great. But I think you'd be better off just letting this one go." Sonic glared at him. "No, I don't think so. Now stand aside." His years of guard training taking over, he pushed past Sonic, relatively pushing him to the right near his sister, who, along with the other opponents at Spike, didn't seem to like how Xiao's silent attitude.
Shadow? You don't like Shadow's attitude? All he just said was, I don't want to travel with you guys, and he just has a problem with Shining. There. Some people don't like some ponies. Deal with it. He just doesn't feel like going. Let him go. Shining is the one who's trying to start something.
Shiny took several steps towards the black hedgehog before saying, "If you're going to have a problem with me, I'd like to know what it is." Xiao replied, "I've heard a little about you. I was hoping you might have learned something from your experience, if everything I heard was true. But your display just now tells me you haven't." Shining eyes raised an eyebrow. "What are you talking about?" Xiao crossed his arms and closed his eyes. "The way you looked at her, like nothing else was important. No wonder you were fooled." Sonic Tails Effector and SPL took a nervous look at Shining Dranker and demanded, "What do you know about love? Have you ever felt it before?" Shining, what are you doing?" He couldn't see Xiao's eyes open, but noticed subtle changes in his posture. He wouldn't have picked up on it. "See, you do know how it is. So how can you criticize our love when you know what it's like to love some pony?" Dear audience, we come here today to mourn the death of Shining Armor, for he just pressed the Maria button. I don't know why this fic has decided to turn Shining Armor into a colossal douche, but he's now a colossal douche, and he is about to die. But, hey, this means Key is a signal.